Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. This is Spiguyver Backpacking. I'm Spiguyver, and today we're out here. I've got the hammock hung up, and we're going to be talking about a product that goes along with the hammock, something that I find to be pretty much essential almost year-round. Very few times I go out without some sort of underquilt. And the underquilt I'm going to be talking about today is one that I have tried out, I've tested, I've shown it before, but I haven't done a really detailed dive into it. Fortunately, the company that makes it, Sheltowee, has started actually producing this for the masses, and it is now available on their website. So I wanted to go ahead and do this so that you guys could see what it was, get the details on it, and now actually be able to purchase one for yourself. So let me go ahead, get this thing set up, get it on this hammock, and we'll come back and take a look at it and talk about it. So let's go. Okay, so I'm here in my Darien hammock. This is my dream hammock, Darien. It's got the zippers on one side, and I've got the Sheltowee Shell Underquilt installed on here. Now what's cool about this one is it's a full length with a full width, and it has some added features like these storage pockets on either end that I've shown in the past. They're really cool features that I really like. Now this underquilt, one of the things I really like about it is I was, to some extent, involved in the design of the suspension system and keeping it up against your hammock. Alex Gash, the owner, proprietor of Sheltowee, Shell Hammocks, sent me this one to test out. And I took it out and I got cold really quick. And the reason was the suspension system wasn't cinching it up in the middle, and so there were gaps there. So I worked with him, we talked about it, came up with some ideas. He had me send it back to him. He did some adjustments to it, put on some different suspension, came up with a new idea, sent it back to me, and since then it has been bomb-proof, super warm. I'm sitting in it right now, it's a 20 degree, and my butt is super warm. Why don't we talk about some of the specifics of this underquilt? Okay, so this is a down underquilt. Now it does have a ClimaShield strip on each side that's about 6 to 8 inches wide, so that on the sides there is always a warm spot where your head or your feet would be against it, so that just in case the down does shift, which you can migrate the down yourself, and I've done that to actually boost the temperature rating just a little bit by moving it from where my body isn't to where my body is. It has horizontal baffles, not vertical, so you can actually move them if you're laying head left, foot right, or foot right, or foot left, head right. You can actually adjust the down a little bit so that the areas where you don't need it, it's not. The insulated area is 7 feet long and 4 feet wide, and so that provides a really nice warm area to stay warm in. For those that are a little bit taller, that 7 feet really does provide quite a lot of coverage. For me, it's more than enough, but it's nice because those people that flip-flop, if you're in a symmetrical hammock and you flip-flop a lot, this is going to have you covered, unlike some that are going to be skewed off to the side. The way this is made, it's almost like a hammock under a hammock. So it is full length, it clips on with mini carabiners up at the continuous loops of your hammock, and then drapes under it just like a hammock. So why don't we get up, take a look, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so by moving my hammock off to the side, out from under it, you guys can get a good look at what I'm talking about. So if I open this up, it is pretty much like a hammock. It comes to a gathered end on each side, and then it has this area that I call the storage area. So this is an area where light stuff you can throw in there, and you've got a place to store it overnight. Your shoes, extra clothes, if you're using a frameless backpack, easily goes inside of there, no problem. But you can see just the size and the coverage of the insulated area. Now what I was talking about this much right there, about that much right there of the side. So it's not insulated, these outer about 4 inches, but this area right here has a ClimaShield piece of insulation that's in with the down. So you actually have extra insulation where your head or feet would be on the sides as you're going diagonal. Now this area right here has shock cord in it. You can see on the outside, this is the area that has the down, the insulation, nice and puffy, good loft. But then you've got this area. And what this does is it provides a good wind block. So this whole thing really does help to trap in the warmth. Now, as you can see from the tag here, this is down tech. So we've got waterproof or at least water resistant down that's being used in this quilt. The materials that are being used are a 1.1 ripstop. However, following this run, as this material kind of gets used up, he's moving to an argon. So Sheltowee will be using an argon fabric rather than the 1.1 ripstop. And you know, it's just a great construct. So let's take a closer look at the suspension and how that actually adjusts, how that works. Okay, so at the end, we have a micro carabiner, which just clips on, and it's got these amp steel loops. So, or zing it. The zing it comes down and it goes through the center of this gathered end and comes out in here. And you can see it, it's yellow, so it stands out really good against this black. And it comes down and you've got this mitten hook right here. The mitten hook has some no-seam mesh that kind of creates the almost like a clue system. For those of you who are familiar with the clue system where it pulls from multiple points, this takes a continuous pull all the way across. It has adjustments here on both sides to adjust how much this is gathered, how much it's pulled together. And then once you get in and you get set, if you feel that there are any gaps beneath you and you know, between the hammock and the quilt, those air gaps are going to create cold spots. So you want it pulled right up against you, but you don't want it pulled up so tight that when you lay in there, it compresses the down. So that's adjusted by disconnecting this mitten hook. And if you need it looser, you go to the end. When it came to me, it had 2 loops. I've created a 3rd loop, and I actually go right in the middle, right to this middle one. And that's where I like to have it for me. And that creates a good, on my 11-foot hammocks, it creates a good pull right up against me and keeps me warm throughout. Now, cool feature on this one that is very different from many of the others. Let's come to the side so that we can take a good look at this little pocket here. Okay, so right here at the end, you can see this is the normal, what a normal underquilt would look like is from here down. All the green area is pretty much what a normal underquilt would look like. But then you've got this puffy black area, and that is just a great storage compartment. You can see here's where the insulated portion ends. You've got the bug netting, clue type system there, and then you've just got this open area that you can throw stuff down into, and it's actually really pretty big. I mean, it's a good size area that you can throw a lot of stuff into and store it. And there's one on either end of the hammock. So depending on how you have it set up, if you have it set up with feet high, head low, you can actually reach into this while you're in the hammock. You can kind of reach out, get into there, and store stuff there. That way, if you don't have something like a ridgeline organizer in your hammock, you have some ability to store stuff with your underquilt while you're in your hammock. Another cool feature, right next to these gray adjustment lockers are these little clips here. And what these clips are good for is if you want to stack quilts. So Sheltowee just did a video last week on their website that showed how they use these. And so you take the suspension of your other underquilt. So you've got this one hung just like you do here. You would lay another underquilt inside of this underquilt, between this underquilt and your hammock. Clip the suspension to the 2 hooks in here. So you've got one on either side, right there, one on either side. Clip it into that on both sides, and now it's holding your other underquilt in there. If you need to, if you already had it pulled up pretty tight, you may want to make it one adjustment lower to make sure that the loft of both of the underquilts is utilized. Otherwise, if you have it too tight, you'd put another underquilt in there, but you're really negating the use of it because you're compressing it. So you want to loosen up the suspension so that when you sit in there, you aren't compressing both of the sets of down or whatever insulation you're using, and you're able to get full use of the underquilts and the full ability, the full warmth rating of stacking 2 quilts. Stacking quilts will do a really good job. So this is a 20. If I was going to take it down into 0, I've got a 40-degree underquilt or a 50-degree underquilt I could throw in here, clip it on, and that's going to help boost that rating and get me a little bit lower. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this hammock by Sheltowee. Like I said, it is the 20-degree, and it is clearly marked there that it's 20 degrees. It has the DownTech tag on there letting you know that it's DownTech. So this area right here is what I was talking about, that is kind of just a windscreen, a windshield. It does not actually have any insulation in there, and it comes up a little bit higher and protects you from the wind. So here you can see it is horizontal baffles, not vertical baffles. And so as you get in for the night, you can start moving some of the, migrating the down across to whichever side your head is biased to. There are adjustments on either end for the shock cord that runs vertically down through the length in order to tighten it up, pull it up a little bit. And then when we look inside, you can get a closer look at the bug netting that is sewn in that creates kind of like a clue system, and the suspension. And one of the things that's cool is the suspension is still on a little bit of shock cord right here so that you can't rip anything. It's not going to rip. It's not going to, if you tighten this to too tight of a tolerance and get in, it's not going to rip anything because you do have a little bit of give right there. So like I said, it is gathered end right there with the line running through it. You have the mini beaners that hold it up. And here you can get a good look at just how generous that area of storage is in there. It's a pretty good size storage. So I've got the quilt still by itself with the hammock pulled off to the side so you guys can see down in here. But it is a wide underquilt. I mean, it is much wider than most of them out there. We come down to the other end and it's exactly the same. You've got the same pulls to tension it, the same suspension system, the same hooks, the same storage area. All in all, just a really cool quilt. So this is a really nice quilt. It's one that I have used quite a few times out there just because it is a little bit, I will admit, it's a little bit heavier than other 20-degree quilts I've got. This one list is 2 pounds 6 ounces. It's 800 fill power down, and so it's a little bit heavier, not the top notch, 850, 900, 950 fill power. But for those who aren't doing like ultralight backpacking, I think this is a killer underquilt. The coverage of it and the warmth and the reliability that I've found, along with the added features of this draft collar that comes up, the added storage on the ends, really does make it a unique underquilt. It's something that I will hold on to and continue to use anytime I'm going car camping. I took it down to the Texas Fall Hang, used it down there, and those are the types of situations where I'm going to be using it most. Taking my son out to Lake Arcadia and hanging out there, that's where this one really shines for me. It's one that works really well, but it's probably not the one I'm going to pick when I go out on a backpacking trip, just because of the extra weight that's there. Now, you could start saying, okay, well, if I've got these pockets, I don't need to carry something to go under me. Storage options you don't have to take as much storage options because you've got the storage built into the underquilt. So things to think about and things to consider, and maybe it puts it ahead. But if you guys are in the market for an underquilt and you're looking for something that's going to keep you warm and provides more coverage than a lot of the stuff that's currently on the market, go check out Sheltowee. They've got great stuff. The owner, Alex Gash, is a good dude and will work with you and get you exactly what you need and stands behind his product. Proudly made here in the USA, in Kentucky. So that's another thing they've got going for them. Anyway, guys, hope you guys like this. If you have any questions, leave them down below. if you like what I've been doing on this channel, please go over there, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon after you do that so that you get notifications every time I upload a new video. And thanks guys, I'll see you down the trail.